subscribe to our channel to keep up with all the latest from Simpin After Dark and everything else at Wild 7 Studios. Welcome back to another episode of Simpin After Dark, everyone. Once again, like always, it's your girl Ashley Mendoza here for another episode. I am so excited to be back. It's been 4 weeks. I honestly forgot, but basically this is the season 4 pre-season, I guess like episode 0 type of episode, because I'm not going to be back for season 4 till August, maybe the very end of July. But I just wanted to hop on here and talk for a little bit because it was Father's Day on Sunday, and apparently my friend just let me know that yesterday was International Daddy's Day. So for, not your father but your daddy, I feel like daddy is reserved for just like daddies now, not fathers, like daddies. Like I can't call my dad daddy. Nobody can. I don't think guys like to be called daddy. But anyway, happy Father's Day to everyone, Daddy's Day. So I want to talk about a bunch of stuff. I'm going to talk Rihanna, and after that I am going to be going back into hiatus until August. I'm working on some other special thing. If you are interested, you can go ahead and follow me on Nightshade Collective and Wild 7 to see what's going on. If you want to keep up, I would appreciate that. And I'm excited to be back, and I'm excited to get back in August. I truly miss it. Miss talking shit on here. Alright, so like I said, the song I will be discussing today and getting into is Kiss It Better off the Anti album by Rihanna. It is such a fucking bop. I'm actually gonna get in my car and sing it on the way home as soon as I'm done with this, because it is so fucking good, and it's honestly perfect for Father's Day. I don't want to make this like a messy episode just about like daddy issues, because we are going to talk about daddy issues and the effects that your parents, not just your parents but your dad specifically for this episode, can have on you, because I think mothers take a lot of grief and a lot of blame already. Like there's so many, like, when you go to therapy, everything's like about the moms, or like Freud, like all like weird shit, there's always a lot of blame on moms. So we're going to talk about dads today. Yeah, it's a lot. We're going to get a little personal. I reached out to my followers on Instagram to have you guys send me whatever stories you have about dads. I put it out there that anything having to do with dads is fair game. So if you've dated a daddy before, or if you are a daddy, I got no stories from guys actually. So step it up. Like I would like for it to be balanced on here, but for now we got some really great stories from the girls. We'll be talking about those later, and then I got a tweet for later as always. Let's go ahead and play a clip of this song. All right. So, yeah, that was 2016, I believe, Auntie. Yeah, January 28th, 2016. So it has been 5 years without an album from Rhi. And I forgive her. Like, she's doing her thing. She's building an empire. She's been through a lot. Like, actually, I was just reading about a bunch of stuff about her having to do with her dad. She's talked about like her relationship with her dad and like how it affected her relationship with Chris Brown, which is pretty perfect if we're talking about daddy issues. That's obviously on the extreme end, being that she did go through physical abuse. And apparently when she was growing up, she witnessed her mom being physically abused by her dad, which is really crazy. I guess he was like addicted to crack, and it was just shitty, but I guess she has forgiven him now. But I did find a lot of stuff about her like suing him because he like tried to use her brand for his own like personal gain, like Fenty, and some other shit where he's like sold information about her to the media just for a quick check. So yeah, she's a really great inspiration and someone to look up to when it comes to overcoming issues. Because when I was like talking to some of you guys when you were sending me in stories, yeah, there's like some fucked up shit that dads do, man. Like and they really do scar their kids for life. And girls aren't the only ones that are affected by daddy issues at all. So I do want to point that out, because I feel like daddy issues have always kind of been weaponized against women that are like, you know, quote unquote hoes or whatever, that pick bad partners. It's like, oh, she has daddy issues, whatever, right? So let me just read some definitions about daddy issues. My favorite is like this official one, like in psychology, it's called a father complex. And it's a group of unconscious associations or strong unconscious impulses, which specifically pertain to the image or archetype of the father. These impulses may be either positive or negative. So that's just in like the most broad general scope. You know, there are things that are underlying you don't really think about, like they're definitely subconscious. Like I don't think a lot of people realize that they may have daddy issues. I think especially guys, because people tend to think that only girls have them. So like guys probably never even explore this, but it's very, very prevalent and important that guys get into it too, because if everyone just looks into their own issues, we can all heal and be better for each other, right? And then there's a pretty funny definition on Urban Dictionary. Well, what it says is when a girl has a messed up relationship with her dad, usually the father's fault. Either he left or is acting like a total bitch. So once again, it's like being pushed as an issue that only affects girls, which is crazy. And then the next thing it says is, as a result, the girl might be attracted to older men or men with anger issues if her father was an angry man, and sometimes will stay in an abusive relationship because it would just feel like home. If he left, don't ever blame yourself for him leaving. He just missed the best thing that he could have ever have. What? Okay, Urban Dictionary is a little weird. I'm going to stop reading from there. But yeah, a perfect example about like Rihanna, I guess she's talked about how she has been able to like see the parallels with why she would keep letting Chris Brown back into her life. And apparently once she was able to forgive Chris Brown, or her dad, she was able to forgive Chris Brown, which is like a whole complex issue, because people that support Chris Brown are like, oh, well, she forgave him, so why shouldn't we, blah, blah, blah. And I like fucking hate him just because like you could tell he's like a freaking toxic asshole. You could tell like that he has anger issues, and he's just so cocky. And yeah, I'll never like, just because she forgave him means that everybody else has to, like whatever, everyone has their own personal opinion. I'm glad that she was able to get over it, as she should, because like holding on to anger is not good for you either. It's not good for your mental health. It's not good for your future relationships. So I'm happy for her on that end, as anyone should that goes through things like this. They should forgive for yourself, not really for the other person. It's definitely for yourself, because I don't think people like that need to be forgiven, even though that also goes back to like, it's all cycles, you know? So that just goes back to like, maybe the dad had his own daddy issues and he's abusive because maybe his dad was abusive. It's just like, it keeps going back and keeps going back. But like, at what point do we like have to realize that you don't have to feel bad for someone because of what they went through? Like, you don't have to keep tolerating it, you know? Or like allowing that person to be in your life, like fucking your shit up, like putting you in a toxic environment, because then you're gonna end up passing that down again. Like as soon as you recognize that, you need to step away, you know, forgive them for yourself, for your own like peace of mind, and step away. But let's get into some lyrics. So intro, kiss it better, baby. So it's a very like sexy song. Very passionate. Mind you, she's a Pisces, but she's an Aries, moon and rising, and has like a bunch of other Aries placements. So she's basically an Aries, which is, it's funny. Yeah. Cause like people always only like look into their sun sign. And this is for my astrology people. I'm sorry if you're not into it. But you should be, cause it's really fucking cool and just a great tool to like look into yourself. And I have an episode all about it. It's called Astrology Hose. If you want to check that out, that's like end of season 2 or beginning of season 3. I forgot, one of those. Check it out. Lots of great info. Like I was saying, as a fire sign, like an Aries especially, like it makes sense that she's so focused on her career and just like so impulsive and just doing everything that she sets her mind to. That's a very Aries thing, and just believing in yourself and just going forward without thinking about like the failures that you might encounter. Like you don't think about those things. I'm an Aries rising. I can relate to that in a way, but I'm also a Virgo moon and sun, so I do doubt myself. I am my own worst critic. But for like Rihanna, she's a fire sign, so I could see how she just like persevered through all the shit that she's been through and like molded it into like something positive. And that's what people that go through trauma need to focus on doing, is instead of like, you know, wallowing in all that pain, like, you know, process it and like turn it into something better for yourself. You can leave all that behind. Like it doesn't have to, like, your trauma doesn't have to define your life. All right, so verse 1. Been waiting on that sunshine, boy. I think I need that back. And pretty sure she's talking about sex. If you read about the lyrics and like what this song is about, it's basically just like not really wanting to get back together with your person because like, oh, we need to be together, but just kind of like you miss the sex, the closeness more than anything. Like, you know, you're still toxic for each other and going through it, but you miss that. So it is what it is. She says, can't do it like that. No one else gonna get it like that. So why are you? You yell, but you take me back. Who cares when it feels like crack? Boy, you know that you always do it right. So she's like, obviously he's being prideful. He doesn't want to like get back together or like come over or talk to her or hook up, whatever it is. And she's just like, boy, you're yelling at me, but like, why are we like pretending like we aren't just gonna like do this anyway? Which is funny. Like, I think that's very relatable. People go through it all the time with like fighting with a partner. Sometimes like your pride, which she does say like right in the pre-chorus right now, she says, man, fuck your pride, just take it on back, boy, take it on back. Because pride is, it's a huge factor in relationships. Like it really does like stop people from moving forward, from forgiving, from whatever it is. But like, even though like this is like toxic for them in this situation, at the end of the day, they both know that they want to be together, but their pride is stopping them. Like, that's how you know it's toxic, when like you got two stubborn ass people where like your pride won't even fucking let you be together to like talk it out or like try to like, you know, move forward, like figure it out. So then she says, take it back all night, just take it on back, take it on back. So yeah, she's trying to like fuck all night. She fucking misses the dick, bro. Do what you gotta do, keep me up all night. Hurt and vibe, man, it hurts inside when I look you in your eye. Ooh, yeah, another relatable line. We all been there. When you're fighting and like you miss the person, like when they do something to you, but you still want to be with them and you know you shouldn't, but you still call them, and then like they come over and you can't even look them in their eye, and like sometimes this lasts for like weeks or days depending on how bad the hurt was. Like it hurts to be together, but like you really miss them, and it's more about like the comfortability of it, just like the definition about like daddy issues or father complex. It just, or I think it was the Urban Dictionary definition about like how it just feels like home. Like it all ties together, like her issues from her dad and like seeing her mom be abused, and now she's in this toxic abusive relationship. It feels like home. Like she's been through it and she's used to that shit. So it hurts to look him in his eye. It's like they don't want to like be vulnerable and open up about this shit, but like they're still down for the surface level, like being together, having sex, the physical connection only. And like that's not a good relationship. Like you got to talk about like all the mental shit going on, like how are we feeling emotionally? You know? So don't rush into shit. If you can't even look someone in their eye, that probably means you shouldn't be fucking. It is what it is. But like you got to figure it out and like realize like maybe you're not good for each other, or hey, maybe we can work it out. But if you're not even like looking eye to eye, that's a sign for sure. That's a red flag, I would say. Then the chorus, my favorite lyric is, what are you willing to do? Tell me what you're willing to do. Kiss it better, baby. Because, yeah, sometimes in relationships like that, it's like, what are you willing to do? Like, you just want them to make it better. And it's like you are just waiting for them to fix it. You want them to literally kiss it better. Like, and it, like, the sex feels like it's going to make up for all the bad things, all the hurt, all the pain, all the betrayal, whatever it is. Like, the kissing it better is just symbolic of, you know, putting a Band-Aid over it. Like, what are you willing to do to temporarily fix this shit? And then verse 2 is pretty much the same. The song is very repetitive. I don't think it like switches up until verse 3. She says, I've been waiting up all night. Baby, tell me what's wrong. You're going to make it right. Make it all night long. I've been waiting up all night. Baby, tell me what's wrong. Ooh, okay, yeah. So she's waiting, like she's in a desperation mode, clearly. And this dude's just being prideful as fuck, not wanting to come through. So, I mean, I think we know she didn't end up with Chris Brown, obviously. And I think she's very focused just on her career now. I was just reading about stuff right now and how she wants to be a mom now. Like she said within 10 years, she wants to be a mom with or without a man, which I think is a very interesting topic too. I think when you do have daddy issues, you think more about like how important the father figure in your child's life is going to be. And like it's not just like some willy-nilly ass decision you could be making. Like you can't just pick some shitty person to be like your baby's dad, because that man is going to have an effect on your child forever. And I think that's like a big reason why like my generation is really thinking about not having kids a lot, and or at least waiting till you're older, you know, because I mean, science, and if you have money, you can like freeze your eggs or like adopt later, whatever it is. But I think a lot of people are considering having kids less and less because we know the effects. And I think the more aware you are, it can push you away from having kids. It's a good thing, but it's also, I think as long as you're working on it, like you'll be a good parent. As long as you're just, like the fact that you're just thinking about these things is a good sign, you know? All right, so there's an article. It's called Yes, Daddy Issues Are a Real Thing. Here's How to Deal. It's on Healthline. And like, duh, daddy issues are a real thing. And like, I think people, when they think daddy issues, they think it has to be some crazy, like dramatic thing, or like a, you know, like you were abused, or like it was an absent father, or they like bullied you or whatever it was. But it could be any little thing. And I would say probably majority of people have daddy issues. Maybe that's me just totally just speculating, being biased. But like it could be little things that affect you in like little ways that you don't even think about. Like I said, it's very subconscious. And like it's all on a scale. It doesn't have to be like 100. It's in between, you know. So there's different kinds of daddy issues. And basically what this article talks about is basically like it affects your attachment styles, which this season I am definitely going to have an episode about attachment styles. I actually just picked up a book I started reading that my friend recommended, or she started reading it and like she posted it and I was like, I want to read that. It's called Attached. I forgot the author, but it's about the anxious attachment style. So I'm really interested in that and sharing what I find, because the shit really does affect your relationships like crazy. And like depending on the attachment styles that you have, you can attract certain partners, or like just kind of know how the dynamic works. It's like a map. It's definitely helpful. So then it says, it gives like examples about how these attachment styles or your daddy issues like might show up or whatever. And then one of them says being anxious when you aren't with your partner, needing lots of reassurance that the relationship is okay, seeing any negativity as a sign that the relationship is doomed. That one for me is big. Like just kind of learning to not run away at any little sign that the relationship is like, yeah, doomed. Like if you have a problem, like just trying to break up immediately because you're like, oh my God, it's over. Like it's the end of the fucking world. Like read the fuck lax, bitch. Like sit down. It's a problem. You can talk it out. And like when we talk daddy issues and the effects on relationships, like that's the perfect example, because if you don't have a good communication style with your dad, like, you don't know what that looks like communicating with a man, the closest man in your life to you, then how are you gonna like know what that looks like in a healthy relationship with like your partner, you know? And then it just like re-says, you know, daddy issues aren't just for girls, it's for fucking anybody. There is no gender for daddy issues. Oh, I miss those sirens. Shout out to Wild 7 Studios, by the way. I am here in downtown LA recording. So thank you so much for always hosting me. And like I mentioned earlier, go follow Wild 7 Studios on Instagram to see what they are up to. I'm always here working on other things outside of Simpin. So if you want to see what I'm up to before season 4 drops, go do that. I'm on the Wild 7 podcast too. So go check that out. And then it kind of explains, it says, if that's the case, why is this concept so gendered? And I think it just has to do like misogyny, the patriarchy, bro, always. And let me also say, because I get people telling me like, oh my God, like we don't, like, is this going to be like a man-hating podcast? And, you know, sometimes it is. But I don't hate men. And you just got to know, like, if it don't apply, let it fly. Like, if you need to hear that every episode, I'll say it. So if it don't apply, let it fly. All right. It just, yeah, it explains how it could affect your choice in partners, how it might affect your sexual identity and behavior. Interesting. I did not read about that, but if you guys wanted to read into that, because I'm not really, there's too many issues to like cram into one episode. Like this could really be a whole 2-parter, but I want to focus specifically on relationship dynamics, which doesn't really have to do with like your sexual identity. This could be for like whatever your sexual identity is, you know? Oh, what the hell? How do you differentiate between healthy sex play and an underlying father complex? And then it says, think that wanting to call a partner daddy in bed or preferring partners who are sexually dominant translates to daddy issues? Wrong. Yeah, so it's not. Like, that's just like a weird sex thing. And like, it's pretty fucking hilarious to me that like the word daddy just got taken over by people calling their partners daddy. Like, it's gotta be fucking weird for like actual dads, or as we call them now, fathers or papa. I don't fucking know. Yeah, so the role of the father is traditionally seen as a role of authority. That's what this article is saying. And for some, authority is like catnip. But yeah, so it's very easy to see how people can get daddy issues and like why it translates into relationships and why specifically it's like pinned on women, because, you know, like having a dad, and if you're straight and you date men, it's like, you know, the whole transference of authority, I guess. It's so fucking weird. You know, all this shit is just entangled with so many things like marriage and the history of marriage and how it was like the passage or the passing of ownership from the dad to like the guy, the husband. There's so much weird shit, man. I don't know. And then there's another article, 6 signs you may have daddy issues, aka attachment issues. So it's just, I feel like daddy issues is just like a more like misogynistic way of saying attachment issues, because usually it's pinned on the girl, and usually it's used by guys. Like I feel like in high school or like later growing up, or like whenever a girl was like a quote unquote hoe, it was guys like talking about how she has daddy issues, blah, 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 blaming the girl as if it wasn't the fucking father's fault for being the way he was, you know? Like, if we're really pointing fingers here, like, let's get to the fucking issue, bro. One of the signs, supposedly, according to MBG Relationships, this article, is that you're only attracted to older men, being that they're financially stable and they appear confident and know exactly what to do. It says if you've had a complicated relationship with your father, your subconscious may crave a father figure to protect and adore you. You may yearn for an older man to provide the affection you missed in childhood. The problem is that, as with a father-daughter relationship, this pairing may bring an imbalance of power. That is definitely true. I talk about that a lot, or I mention it a lot, you know, like the power dynamic with older men, with younger women, or like young girls dating dudes that are fucking older than them, like much older. Yeah, it's an imbalance of power. It can get weird. It can be bad. It can be controlling. Just look into it. But yeah, like the whole idea of like looking for somebody else to protect you because you always craved that love and affection from your dad. That's, yeah, 100% understandable, you know? And I've actually been seeing a lot of TikToks that have been like confirming a thought that I have had for a while. I was talking to a friend one time that has a niece that he's really close to, and I was just like, oh, like that must be crazy watching her grow up. He's like, yeah, for sure. And I just like got to thinking about like, and I was like talking to him, and I was like, I hope like you like stay close with her and like don't treat her different like once she gets past puberty, because I feel like a lot of like girls that I talk to with their dads feel like once they reach puberty, their dads just started treating them differently. Like they don't see you like a little girl anymore, or like, so yeah, like they stop being like all sweet and like cuddly with you. And this is not for all fathers, like by all means. I know some dads that were like super sweet to the daughters forever. Like I remember being in high school and seeing dads with like their like my friends, and like they were like so affectionate with them, and that was weird to me because like my dad wasn't. And like I don't remember like a point in time when he stopped. And it's not like he's a bad dad or anything like that or whatever. Like he's a great dad, but like that's what I mean when I'm saying it doesn't have to be 0 or 100. Like it's a spectrum, and probably everyone has daddy issues on some level. And like for me, it was like kind of just realizing that my dad's not as affectionate, and then craving his like approval always. So like in partnerships, like with guys now, it's I find myself kind of being the same way and wanting that like closeness and like trying to replace it. Maybe it's weird. It's super weird to look into, and like definitely some people might feel like, ew, like that's fucking sick, that's gross. Yeah, it's kind of fucking weird, but like you don't have to like sexualize it with like your dad. You just have to look at like the fucking parallels and like see like why you're like going after these guys, why you accept guys that treat you like shit, why you are like letting these guys treat you like shit and begging them for their love, you know? It's because your dad probably deprived you of love. I don't know. And then it's number 2, you are clingy, jealous, or overprotective. And then it says, people with insecure relationships with their earliest caregivers often grow up to have an anxious attachment style, meaning you constantly worry that your partner might leave you. You might get jealous frequently and find yourself checking their cell phones just to make sure they're not cheating. Importantly, this type of codependency may eventually suffocate your romantic relationships, leaving you a product of your own fears, abandonment. So, very important to look into. And then just seeking constant reassurance, all that shit. So I guess like I don't want to use this episode, I guess especially since that was like this is a Father's Day episode, like, you know, happy Father's Day. Shout out to the good dads, the ones that are there for their kid, provide, they're present, and like they care about their child's well-being and mental health and support them no matter what. I don't want to shit on that at all. I just want to make this more of like an awareness episode to like maybe dads that have young daughters, so that they know that these are things that happen. And then also for moms that have young daughters, and that way they could talk to their partners. You know, I think it's important that people have these conversations. I definitely would have that conversation if I were to have kids. But yeah, it's definitely really important because like dads should be like solid all the way through. Like, why did the relationships need to change after puberty? You know, it leaves people feeling unloved or like seeking that love somewhere else. So just like knowing these things and talking yourself through it and realizing like they're not even doing it on purpose. Like it's not like they hate you all of a sudden. It's just another subconscious thing that comes from them maybe not having a father figure growing up. Maybe they didn't see how to like treat a child past a certain age because, you know, their dad left at a certain age or they died at a certain age or whatever it is. Like there's so many things that can happen, you know? All right, so I'm going to just read this tweet just because it's pretty spot on to like what I'm talking about already. It's by @V the Esquire. He said, how does having a daughter change the way you see or treat women when her mom and yours are sitting right there? And this is so important because this is something I hear guys say all the time. Like grown fucking men, dude, talking about like, oh, like I did not realize, like, wow, now that I have a daughter, I fucking get it, what women go through. And like, I never realized like women were actual human beings. Like, how do you literally sit there and let that shit come out of your mouth? Like, did you not come out of your mom's fucking vagina? You didn't have a mom, a grandma, you have no sisters, like nothing. I'm not even gonna say friends, because I don't even know if men know how to truly have real friendships with women, like actual friendships. But that's a whole nother topic. I'm not even gonna get into that right now. Yeah, so men, stop saying this. And don't just stop saying it, but like fucking dissect it, like get into it, like think about it. Like, why does it take you having a daughter to like realize or change your fucking misogynistic ways? And this is like what I mean. Like, this is like on like the worst end of when I talk about men treating their daughters differently once they get past like puberty. This is like the type of man that's gonna do that, because they see a little baby. Like, who isn't nice to a baby? Who doesn't want to protect and love a little baby, like a little baby girl at that? But like, once she grows up and she has her own opinions and shit like that, and like starts challenging your views because, you know, she's maybe more educated, or like she's exposed to other perspectives, are you still gonna respect her if she's, you know, a hoe in your eyes because she has sex one time? Are you gonna like hate her now? Are you gonna like call her out of her name, degrade her? Cause yeah, that's fucking despicable, honestly. And like, I worry about men like that. They should not be reproducing. So like, I really urge all women to like really fucking vet these men that you are with. Like, the men that you are considering to be fathers to your daughters, to your sons. Like, I keep saying daughters, and I need to remember, like, it's your sons too, because like these guys are like the ones that also think it's okay to like push their sons to go out and get pussy all the time. But then if their daughter like holds hands with one guy, or he catches the girl texting or talking on the phone with one guy, she's a fucking hoe, and like gets threatened to get kicked out, or like whatever it is. Like, men that are overprotective with their daughters but let their sons run loose and like don't even raise them other than telling them to like go get pussy. That's the most misogynistic shit I could think of. And then like, why do you think other men are trying to run game on your daughters? Because other men are raising them the same way that you're trying to raise your sons compared to your daughters. Like, it's also fucking sick and twisted. It makes no sense. It blows my mind. It really does make me angry. But like I said, if it don't apply, let it fly. And even at that, just think about it. Just think about it. All right. So, like I mentioned, I asked you guys on the Simpin IG to send me stories, or like whatever it was, like a free game, anything to do with dads, just anything that you want me to like read or talk about. So I'm gonna get into some of those now. Some of them are a little sadder. Some of them are really uplifting, actually. So I think I'm gonna end with like the good ones at the end, just to like wrap it up, because I don't want this to be like a shit on men episode at all. This is more of like a PSA, okay? I hope y'all appreciate it. Okay, so this one is really fucked up. This girl said, my dad cheated on my mom since I was 10 years old and never hid it from us. Only my mom. And he had us keep his secret, and naturally, being a daddy's girl, I did. Eventually, he got caught, and my mom found out we knew and never told her. Needless to say, now I go for broken men and never know when to let go. I have found myself begging, and even justifying men's actions due to the abandonment issues that were created at an early age, working to break these cycles, but it's hard. Yeah, so that's fucking crazy. Definitely traumatic. I can't imagine, like, what kind of fucking piece of shit would like manipulate his child into keeping a secret like that from his daughter's mother, like his wife or girlfriend or whatever it was. Like, that's so fucked up. Like, that's just like on another level. And I'm so happy that she's like aware of like how it's affecting her choice in men, and like the dangerous, just unhealthy behaviors that she's, you know, doing or having. And it is hard. Like she said, it's really hard, you know, being aware is one thing, but that's where like the battle starts. That's where the journey begins. That's the very beginning. So it's very hard, and it's like a very like constant thing that you have to be aware of, like very consciously, just all the time thinking about it. Like every time something happens with a partner, or every time you feel a certain way, every time you get jealous, or every time you're like finding yourself begging for like someone to give you attention, it's hard. So bless you, child, because that is fucked up. I can't imagine, but I'm happy that you are working through it. All right, so then this other girl, she replied when I posted about this, and she was just like, yeah, like this is gonna be like a good relatable one or whatever. And I was like, yeah, blah blah blah. And then she basically just mentioned how it's good to like dissect and get past all this stuff for your own trauma. And then she says, it took me to a dark place when my dad disowned me. And after 6-ish years, I was able to heal myself, grow and learn, and be able to know he probably has trauma himself and he's just not healed. And then she like showed me that she had a tattoo that she got to remind herself about this all the time, which I think is a really, really cute, like great idea, because like I said, it's like a very like conscious thing you have to do. So if you have like something tattooed on your body to remind you all the time, then that's going to help you, I think. And that's just like a therapeutic experience, you know? So like I kind of had mentioned, and like this is like perfect example, like her realizing that like her dad abandoned her, or like whatever issues he put her through is probably because he has his own unhealed trauma. And that's like such a grown fucking thing to do. So like I applaud her so much, because it does take a lot to realize that, because when someone does you dirty, at the end of the day, a lot of things aren't personal. I say that all the time, but it's hard to realize that when someone does you dirty, because all you're feeling is anger. Like you're just blacked out by the anger. You have tunnel vision, you know, all you can think is like, yo, fuck you, fuck that person. But you don't know like why they are the way they are. Like they probably didn't do this thing to hurt you. They just have unhealed trauma. So that's super, super like important too, so that you can forgive and get past it and work on yourself and your own mental health. All right, and then I got some little nice happy endings. All right, so this girl said, I'm currently dating a guy with kids. This is my first time dating someone much older as well, and first time dating someone with not just one but 2 kids and 2 baby mamas. Oh shit. No idea what I'm in for here. The whole experience is brand new, but I will say that dads are cute as hell. Hearing that they spent their day playing with their babies and cooking and cleaning all day, it's great. I love it. I guess when you start dating dudes in their mid to late 30s, you kind of have to accept that they may have gone through the whole marriage and kids part of life already without you, and it's perfectly normal. That is so true. When you date older men, they probably did that already. So like you're just going to have to accept that and be a part of their lives, or like whatever it is. But that's probably definitely a new cool experience. I've never dated a guy with kids, you know. I don't know if I could do it, especially when we're talking about baby mamas. I hear too much about like baby mamas always being in the picture. Not to discourage you, girl, but 2 baby mamas, that's wild. And I agree. Hearing about a dad like actually being a parent, cooking, cleaning, taking care of the kids, that is great. And like I salute that. And like that's not to like diminish or like whatever, take away from what moms do, because that's on like automatically moms do that. It's expected from them. So it is definitely fucking weird to like be like, oh my god, wow, he cooks and cleans and takes care of his kids. But you know, being that it's a Father's Day episode, we're gonna give it a round of applause. Good job, Dad, for doing your duties. But yeah, good luck. That's wild. 2 kids, zam. But then not only 2 kids, we got people dating daddies with 3 kids. So this girl said, I dated a man with 3 kids. He was a great father. He had his kids more than just the weekends, was involved in the extracurriculars, took them on trips, and just showed up in all the ways. It was so attractive to see him on some grown man shit. I had always said I didn't want to date someone with kids, even though I myself have one, but he changed that. So that's really cool. I think definitely it's probably easier to date someone with kids if you have kids too. That's probably super cute. It's like a little mashup of families and babies. But yeah, definitely I think seeing a man actually be grown and like be a good father, be present, and like not just have him or have the kids on the weekends or whatever it is, and actually like going out of their way to like do extracurriculars and all that, take them on trips. That's so fucking cute, because too many times we hear about like the deadbeat dad story. So like I'm so happy that like all the girls that wrote in about like dating dads had great things to say, and we're just like amazed, because I love to hear it. We love to hear it. Like shout out to these men that are like doing the fucking thing, you know. This other girl, same thing, said she's talking to a dude that has kids, and like he has them full custody, so she's like getting serious with him. So she was saying that they had a talk about her calling his kids like her own kids. I was like, that is so cute. I'm like, good for you. Like that takes a very strong, like loving ass woman to do that shit. Like I said, I couldn't do it, but never say never. Like I feel like people that say like could never be me, that shit comes back. It will bite you in the ass. So yeah, it's a lot. Dating someone with kids, like that brings up so many other issues, like talking about Father's Day. Like what about like Mother's Day? Like does he get her a gift? Like what kind of gift? Or does he only get her a gift from the kids, quote unquote, you know? Because I'm not gonna lie, like if I was dating a dude with kids and like he got the baby mom like a really nice expensive gift, I would probably feel away. I'm not saying I'm right. That might be toxic. I do not know. That's just something to consider. I don't know. I'm a Virgo, so I be thinking about all the fucking possibilities. I stress myself out, and I'm here to stress you out too. I'm here to like think about all the possibilities. But I love when you guys send me mature stories, because it helps to ground me too. I love it. I love it. All right, guys. Well, I'm about to wrap it up now, because that was a good episode, and I like that little note we're ending on with like shouting out the good dads. It's really nice to see. So yes, happy Father's Day, happy Daddy's Day, and we love the moms too. I didn't have a special episode for the moms just because like it was last minute. This was super last minute too. I honestly just wanted to hop on here because I know I'm not going to be back for a while. Yeah, so there was a lot to talk about, and thank you so much for everyone that submitted stories and all that. Yeah, you're all amazing, and I'm proud of everyone for looking into their issues, daddy issues specifically for this episode. Like I said, it's not just for women, like men, anybody. It's important. Like don't let that shit subconsciously affect your relationships. You know, we are all victims to daddy issues, and like I said, it's a scale, it's on a spectrum, so like don't dismiss it. And shout out to Rihanna, I love you. Once again, shout out to Wild 7 Studios. Go follow them to see what is going on. You can follow me at Simpin After Dark on Instagram, on TikTok, and Twitter. And thank you for everyone that's still listening to all the old episodes. I know it's been a while, so I appreciate you guys tuning in. And if you're a new listener, thank you so much. You kind of hopped in a great time, because there are lots of episodes for you to go back on, and there are much more new ones to come. That was not grammatically correct, but it's okay. Yeah, I'll see you guys soon. Talk to you next time. Bye.
You're listening to the Wild 7 Podcast Network. Listen different.